apha ekhaya ndicinga uba siba yi-12 apha ndihlala kweli khaya ndinayo phaa into ephaa kwi-35 years. Usenzela ngcono kuba lokhu kufuneka siphuhlise thina asinawulunga uba siyohlala kwezinye iindawo.
The women, they are working harder than the men because most of the men here, they are in Joburg. They're working in Joburg, working on the mines. This is the women, they take care of the children. Everything is the work of women.
Namhlanje besingapha besisenza ifoundation yendlu endizoyakha kuloo ndawo apha ngaphezu kwentabeni. Ndinawo lo mbono. Ndifuna le backpacker yam ibe nkulu gqithi kakhulu. Yonke le ntaba igcwale.
We make sure the community, they know about HIV and then they really understand what the HIV is. I like to come out and then to tell the people, yes, listen here, I'm HIV positive, and then you see, I'm alive. I'm alive.
Ndicinga ukuba ngaba le project ibalulekile kuthi ngoba abantu abaninzi apha bebengasebenzi kodwa ngoku bayasebenza and bayakwazi ukuzimela, bayakwazi ukuzithetha izinto.
The lodge, its goal has always been using tourism as for community development purposes, but that's primarily an impact in terms of income for the community. So the incubator we started that because we realized there was a lot of things that aren't going to be addressed purely by income. It was a very isolated community, cut off from the outside world. There wasn't even a gravel road here. Again, I'm talking about this context, very remote, deep rural Transkei. Coming to an environment where there's not a lot of entrepreneurial culture at all, where the only sort of private businesses up until we started here was a shebeen or a spaza shop.
This area is the poorest people in South Africa. They are not given a chance or opportunity to really meaningfully participate in the current dominating economical systems.
Maduma, she's from the village just next to us. So she approached us when she saw the market in her area, because on the grants day, it used to people from Tata who come and sell chickens here. So she saw that opportunity, but she had nothing. She just had an idea.
EBI ndithanda uya kuyo. Yandivumela xa ndifaka isicelo soba ndifuna ukuqala ishishini, yandivumela. Ithe kundivumeleli kwayo yabuza uba ndinalona ulwazi ngokufuya iinkukhu. Ndathi ke ulwazi andinalo. Baye bandithatha ke bandisa kwi-training eMbanyana. Ndafumana apho ke kukhona umlungu olapho ke olaziyo ukuqhuba ishishini lenkukhu. Ndafunda, ndabuya ke noko ndinalo ulwazi endinalo. Baye baqhubeleka ke bandakhela bandifakela iinkukhu apha eprojekthi, ndaqhuba ke ndasebenza.
We took her in and we saw that she's got a great idea, and then we tried to raise some funds for her, and then we took her to training, and then we bought her 1 day old chickens, medicine, food, all the feeders. We built a nice structure for the chickens in her own house, She was so enthusiastic, she learned quickly, so she had her own ways when there's a problem. She had her own solutions. She doesn't just, when there's a problem, just approach us.
Ndiyakwazi waqhuba amantshontsho amancinci ade akhula ade athengiswe ndingakhange ndiyokhala emlungwini.
In my experience in remote communities is that anything new is expected to fail generally. Rural people across the world are conservative, because you couldn't just go and say, how about instead of planting maize this year, I go and plant this kind of something else and see how it goes, because if it failed, you starve. So the natural conservatism of rural communities is understandable, and bringing to that context some guy who comes with all city lingo and attitude and says, hey, if you do this, this and this, you can make a business. People are naturally very skeptical of that, and confronted with failure early on will often give up very quickly, because it's almost like confirmation of what they expected was going to happen. So that's where you need to have someone there who's helping people, holding hand, and helping them adapt and understand and get through problems, and then gradually giving more and more independence till eventually they are fully independent.
My name is Kunjula. Kunjula, my surname is Mbi. I'm from here in this village. I'm living here in this village.
It's very hard. It's not easy to help my family because it's not enough money for helping my family. My business helps a lot here in my family. I'm just running the shop. If I'm struggling, I'm just talk to the managers, and the owner asks the questions, and then after I'm going to the Bulungula incubator, asking the question there about the shop. First of all, I was starting the shop. We written the board there. It's written that Siakula shop. It means we are growing. It's my thing, No matter I'm thinking my business. Oh, how can I grow it? This my business. I'm very, very proud to run my business because I get money to my job. That is why I'm very proud. I get money.
Xa ndingumama obhizi onjengam kanje ndiziva ndinomdla kakhulu ukuba ndisebenze bekhona abantu abahleliyo bona bangafuni ukwenza nto. Kuba mna ndijonge ukuba ndibancede. Ndizama ezo nzame ke ndisenza uba abantwana bam bahluthe balale betyile. Nabantu babone ndibe lufundo kubo, bafunde kum ukwenza. Naba bahleliyo bangafuni ukwenza nto benze. Bakhuthale. Ndifuna ukukhuthaza abantu bendawo endihlala kuyo.
The tourism potential here is immense. This backpackers is not really taking up the full potential of it. And although here we've given 50% of the whole business is community owned in different ways. And this is not about overdeveloping the wild coast or whatever. It's looking at what the people have and in as sustainable as possible way, optimally developing that to address what they need.
Utranscape undinceda kwakhe kule backpackers undincede ngokuba andinike imali. Yayi-idea yami yokucinga. Ndacinga ukuba mandizawuzenzela le business. Ndandivuyile ngoba ke nangokunana ke laa mali yokuqala nam ndabona nje ukuba ndiyibhatala kuba ke kwakungangeni belungu nangoko. Kodwa ukunantsika kwam, ukuyenza kwam le nto, kwaba nomdla omnye umlungu waseJohannesburg kuthiwa nguJohn. UJohn wafika apha wathi, Sparks, ndinomdla ngale nto kakhulu and then ndingakuncedisa kule nto. Ndathi ke John, ingathini niplani? Wathi uJohn, into endiza kuyenza ndizayirenta le ndawo and then ndibhatale uTranscape mna. Ndiyasebenzela ngokwam ngoku. UJohn ukuhamba kwakhe waba ngumntu othi, Sparks, le ndawo iyawuba phantsi kwakho ngoba mna ngokunana ndiyahamba ndibheke oversea and then ke ayizoba nangxaki. Nakuqala ibhizinisi kunzima ngoba into yokuqala ibhizinisi ifuna imali, ifuna izinto ezininzi. Kunzima, kunzima kakhulu.
the factors that you need to have a community-owned business. I mean, you're going to have some body or entity that's going to come in for at least 10 years and help with the hand-holding that will be required during that process. There's no way in a community like this that you can arrive and then after a year or two say, right, here's your business, run with it. And that's the big failing of a lot of micro-enterprise projects.
Our advantage is we're based here. So with the things we do, if something doesn't work out, we try another thing, you know, and it just goes on. The problem stays a problem until it's solved. So basically, we started focusing on HIV/AIDS and health because that was the biggest issue, and that is in a much broader area.
Years ago, there was a lot of people that was dying about HIV and diarrhea. And Transcape just come with this project, this HIV thing, and then now the people, they are aware. And I know that, I really know that the community like Transcape because it's a lot of things Transcape that is done to the community. It's like a mother for everyone in this community. I'm happy and then to work with Transcape. Even myself, I get more knowledge from Transcape. I get more educated from Transcape because I have a lot of things that I didn't know before. I have a trainings from Transcape. I'm going to trainings and then I know more. I just choose myself to go out there to tell the people about my status. Because one thing that is very important is that you can't do education if you don't tell the people you are. Because the first question they're going to ask you, you are HIV. And then if you say no, they're going to say, now how can you teach us about that because you are not? So to me, I'm proud for myself because I'm not fear. I'm not fear any stigma. The people, they can talk, but one thing, I leave the message in there.
When we first moved to Hamburg, I came as an artist actually. Just an artist who tells stories in books and who dealt with the environment in all my stories. So I was very taken with the environment of Hamburg and realized that there was a lot of damage to the environment that was going on just because the people had no money at all. The unemployment was over 90%. So I started a frantic conservation, single-handed conservation effort. And then I realized we have to give employment to people to stop them doing harm. I thought to start teaching embroidery to the women that they would get an income. And that's how the art project started. And then the AIDS epidemic came and I was pushed back into medicine after 15 years. The AIDS epidemic was like a war. So we had to put everybody together to deal with that. So the art program switched to making art as some sort of, not an educational thing for AIDS, but as a comfort because so many people were dying, for people to tell the story to the world of what was happening in this village.
Ndiyakholelwa into yokuba ngaba i-art le siyenzayo ingangumncedi apha ebantwini, ingabanyanga abantu ngehlobo lento yokuba ngaba use wenza lo msebenzi siwenzayo, xa uye wathi wenza loo nto intle ikwenzayo nawe uyuzive uncumile. Xa ungu-artist wenza le nto ilapha kuwe entliziyweni, and xa usugqibile uyenza ufumaniseke uba ngaba uziva like uncumile, uvuya ngoba le nto biyinto ephuma kuwe from entliziyweni, not into esuka komnye umntu. So, but I'm hoping in future there will be something. When I'm famous, you know, people, now I'm still finding ways, but one day I will be there.
There's many individual stories, you know, involving everyone here that you're part of in your life, you know, and so you can see those impacts and how they've happened. So for sure, there's been massive impact.
But where we failed, I think, retrospectively, is to get deeply into the education of the kids in the schools. The education system here in the whole of the Eastern Cape and probably the whole of South Africa has desperately failed the kids.
Still, the kids, you know, in primary school here have no really realistic way of going to high school, you know, because the bus can't get here, and so they have to walk 20 kilometers.
So I suppose the vision for the future is that all these things would come together to make a village that is partially self-sustainable and a good place to live with good medical treatment, good schools, and still preserve the environment.
I mean, ultimately it's an exercise in empowering a very remote, poor community to be able to create livelihoods and manage its own future.